Hey guys, Jesse Wright here, and I'm going to do a day in the life of a real estate investor in Mississippi video for you today. We're going to start by going out to a house in Pearl that we're flipping. Major rehab. It's going to be an interesting one. So after that, we're going to go to a turnkey flip that we're working on in Jackson, Mississippi. So this is a house that we actually sold it already, but we're doing the rehab after the purchase, so that the buyer has the opportunity to write off all of the rehab costs. And that's going to be a really good one. He purchased it for $75,000, including the rehab, and it should rent for about $1,500, maybe even a little bit more per month. So great returns on that. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to walk you through that property, and then we'll just kind of see where the day goes after that. So while we're on the way here, I'll tell you a little bit about this house out in Pearl. I found this through a local wholesaler. I think they originally were trying to sell it for around $65,000 in an area where, well, on a street where other 3-1s had sold between $160,000 and $180,000. The problem with this house is that it had been clipped by a tree, so an entire bedroom was missing, and it was on the demolitions list, and it was scheduled to be just, bulldozed. And so what I had to do was go meet with the city council, ask them for a little more time, let them know that I was planning on buying it and fixing it up in order to keep that from happening. And then, of course, afterwards there was permitting and all that good stuff. But, what this did was, one, it prevented the seller, the person that owned the house, so the wholesaler was working with the seller, so he was kind of a middleman, but ultimately the person that was really helped here was the actual owner of the house. They not only were they going to have their house bulldozed, but typically how that works is after it's bulldozed, the city sends a big fat bill to the owner of the house for all the work that they did. So not only is their house reduced to nothing, but they're being forced to pay for that. And so by me buying the property, they were actually able to put a little bit of money in their pocket. And of course, the city of Pearl wins also, because now they don't have a house that's being demoed. Instead, the neighborhood's just a little bit better. It's getting fixed back up. All right, so I'm outside this flipping Pearl right now, and what we're working with is there was a tree right there before I bought this house. It fell and took out a corner of the house, but also not only did it take out so much of the house, it actually shifted the entire house off of its foundation. So you can see all of these piers are leaning, and I'll show you the back over here, but it actually moved like literally everything between 4 and 8 inches. If you look over here, even at this slab right here, these stairs, this concrete slab shifted several inches. It doesn't look like that much when you look at it on this side, but you can see the truth when you look right here. It's a solid 4.5 inches right there, and it just keeps going. This part even more so. That's how much the house shifted off the foundation. So right now what we're doing is we're actually lifting it all up, and then gonna rebuild the wall down here, rebuild the wall over here. So pick it up, set it back down on a new wall, basically. Now this one section right here might be okay, but pretty much all of this from here on is going to be knocked down and rebuilt. Here you can actually see a little more, how it looks as far as being just completely knocked off. So I'll take you inside this house just so you guys can see. This one we bought as is for $30,000. That was before all the demo or trash or junk removal was done, and there were comps in the area for, you know, same size houses going for between 160 and 180. So this is bedroom number 1. As you can see, this is where the problems are starting. This is that closet. And then bedroom number 2, we've screwed the door shut, but that would be that wide open space outside. And then bedroom number 3, this one's not too bad. So that's all that. And then we just got this 1 bathroom. So this is a 3-bedroom, 1 bath out here in Peru, Mississippi. Probably redo all this, or maybe sand down this tub and repaint it, and then redo the surround, but we'll just see. All right, guys, so we're back on the road again. Sorry you won't see me looking at the camera very much since I'm driving, but headed to this turnkey flip in Jackson now, and I just want to tell you a little bit more about it. So like I said earlier in the video, the guy that bought this house from us, his all-in cost is $75,000. So I think it was like a $60,000 purchase price, and then also a $15,000 rehab was included in that. And so right away he gets to write off in his first year of ownership a decent chunk of change that pretty much offsets his rent for the year. In addition to that, when we're done with the rehab, the house will be worth over $100,000. So he's spending $75,000 on a house that will be worth over $100,000. He's capturing an instant equity of $25,000. So it's really profitable. What we're going to do to this property is we're going to take a little section of the living room and we're gonna make it into a very small bedroom. It'll probably be about 120 square feet. Put a little closet in there, but 5-bedroom houses just tend to, it's hard to find them, and so they're pretty easy to get rented out, and you're able to charge a premium price for them because they're hard to find, you know, as a tenant. So this would do well for people with big families, do well as a Section 8 rental. Let's dive into the numbers a little bit here. So, you know, his all-in cost is $75,000. He's immediately going to be able to offset $15,000 worth of income. So, you know, he bought this property at the very end of the year, and even though the work hadn't been completed yet, he paid for the rehab at the end of the year. So that $15,000 is going to be a write-off immediately. Let's just say he was going to be paying 20% taxes on that $15,000. That's a $3,000 profit right there. And then again, you know, he's got his $25,000 in additional equity capture. So now we're up to $28,000. This house is going to rent out for minimum $1,500 a month. And so, you know, there's a lot of different ways to total up your cash flow, total up your returns, but a good rule of thumb, you know, would be 40% goes to property taxes, insurance, management, and maintenance. In this case, the property taxes come out to a little less than 10%. He probably won't have quite as much maintenance this year also, especially since we're doing a $15,000 rehab on the property. So it'll probably come out below that, but we'll just kind of keep those numbers. $1,500 a month times 12 months, we're looking at $18,000. 40% of that is $7,200, meaning he's bringing in a total of $10,800 in profit. So if you want to figure out your yearly cash on cash returns, you know, you take that $10,800 in profit divided by 75,000, you'll come up with roughly 14.5%. Now that's his starting returns. Obviously, there will be things that happen throughout the years. There will be maintenance, but there will also be rental increases. We've seen a pretty big spike in monthly rent. He's going to start out at 14.5% returns. That's not including, of course, his $25,000 in equity capture. It's not including his $3,000 in tax write-offs. You know, if he's writing off $15,000, so he's saving $3,000. Just from the rent, you're looking at 14.5%, and every year it's going to climb a little bit. The following year, if he's bringing in $1,600 a month, that's an extra $1,200 a year. So instead of bringing in $10,800, now he's bringing in $12,000 per year in profit. So you take that $12,000 a year, divide it by 75,000, and you see the second year he's getting a 16% cash on cash return. Every year after that, he should see a 1.5% increase in his returns. So, you know, this is one of those things, it's a gift that keeps giving. All right, now again, that 14.5% is his cash on cash return. And that's something that you want to base your plans off of. But if we want to look at, you know, his true wealth building off of this transaction, you know, the total gain, then we do have to factor in those other amounts. And so, you know, we factor in the $3,000 that he saved on taxes, we factor in the $25,000 in equity capture, and we factor in the $10,800 in profit from the rental income. Basically what he did is he turned $75,000 into $114,000. Okay, so he really actually had in his first year about a 51% increase in his wealth. If that was all he was working with, obviously, you know, probably working with much more than that, but just off this one particular property. And, you know, as time goes by, as the rent increases, just because the rent is increasing, the value of the property will increase. It's going to appreciate either way, but a property that rents out for $1,500 a month sells for less than a property that rents out for $2,000 a month, even if it's the same property. That's just, you know, how this business works. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today. There was a bunch more running around and errands that I did that did not get documented. I did stop at that West Jackson flip and took the footage that you saw as I was talking. And I also decided to take this grill home that I found over there. I'm gonna restore that and maybe use it to cook a brisket here in the next week or two after I get it all nice and pretty. But anyway, I hope that was helpful, the things that I did discuss. I hope that it was entertaining for you. And if you want to see more about how these flip projects and these rehab projects are turning out, then subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.